most times, I'm gonna be honest, let's keep it a buck. Most times it's a self-inflicted wound. We're gonna talk about car loans. Now, hey, if anybody been watching this channel for a minute, y'all seen me pay off my car loans. Then I went to a model of next car I'm gonna get cash. I bought one vehicle cash, but now I have another car loan. But my current payment is about 4.5% of my take-home pay, so it's not anything outside of what I can manage and handle. But my approach to car loans have changed. One thing that's for certain is a lot of times people bury themselves and make bad decisions that they ultimately end up paying for. Let's go ahead and dive into this video so we can see what is going on.
When Jessica Patterson became a single mom of 3 young kids, she knew she couldn't make it work without buying a car.
My whole life depended on it. It was going in and getting a car or not be able to take my kids to the medical appointments and services that my special needs child needed.
So she headed to this used car lot outside Kansas City where a saleswoman pointed her to a Kia Rio priced at $15,000. With a $12 an hour job as a receptionist and no savings, Patterson knew she'd need a loan.
Okay, real quick. Now, I will tell you, generally my view has changed on automobiles because I think there is some value in having a car that's a little bit more reliable, preferably a car that has a warranty. But if you make $12 an hour and are a single mom with 3 children, one of which who is special needs, fiscally, you cannot afford a $15,000 car making $12 an hour. I think something more in the ballpark, you talking somewhere between $3,000 to $5,000 is what she should spend on a vehicle if we're just talking about the numbers. But hey, that's just me. But I think off the break is probably not a bad move. And I get it. You need a vehicle. I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I had beaters that I had to fix and drive, and they had ashy ass hoods, and I had newer cars. So I've seen both sides of the spectrum. Let's go ahead and dive back in.
She put my information in this little computer. It was like bloop, 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 bloop. And then Exeter came and flashed across the screen.
Exeter.
Exeter
Finance, based in Texas, is one of the largest auto lenders in the nation, specializing in subprime loans designed for customers with poor credit. We're
subprime loan, subprime mortgage. Anytime you hear subprime, that means broke as hell, and we probably shouldn't loan you anything, but we are going to do it anyway because it's probably going to be advantageous for us and not so good for you.
We're here to help, it says on the company's website. But that help, we learned, can come at a steep price. Our joint investigation with ProPublica found that Exeter borrowers, already struggling financially, often say they are surprised to learn they owe thousands of dollars more than they anticipated at the end of their loan. Those extra charges are a moneymaker for Exeter, but drive borrowers deeper into debt. That's what happened to Patterson. She bought her Kia in 2017 with a sky-high interest rate of 25%, financed by Exeter. The company charges the highest interest rates of any auto lender in the country, listed in publicly available data reviewed by ProPublica.
I was just like, holy bejeez, I don't know if I can do this, but I need the car.
Patterson soon fell behind on payments. When she called Exeter, a representative offered her what seemed to be a lifeline, a loan modification known as an extension, which would give her a short-term break from having to make any payments. She said she agreed on the spot. What did you know about what an extension would mean?
No knowledge. That rep did not explain to me what the extension meant.
Okay, now I'm going to be honest here. I think there are a lot of companies out there that prey on persons who have low income, who may not have the education. I mean, it is a thing. Companies do violate usury laws, and usury laws are really worthless. Usury laws essentially mean that, you can't charge an outlandish amount of interest, like 50%, but nobody really enforces usury laws. If you don't got good credit, they're going to charge you a highest interest rate. But let's just be honest. How much is this is on her? How much is this is actually her fault? I'm sure the terms you were aware of. You initially said, hey, I don't know if I can afford this, but you needed a car. So you had an understanding of knowledge of this is how much money I make, which you knew. This is how much the car costs, which you knew. And this is how much the interest rate is going to be. And I'm sure they showed you what your payment is, what the term is, all of that stuff. So a lot of it is being put on the organization. And I get it. Some companies are shit, but a lot of this falls on you. A lot of this falls on her as the person who signed up for this. And now you agreed to something and now you're trying to complain about it. You got to make the smart decisions on the front end before you sign your name on a dotted line.
They just said it was no problem. We could take care of it. Let us put the payment toward the end of the loan term for you. And I said, really, it's that easy? And they're like, yeah, it's that easy.
3 former Exeter employees told us the company was quick to hand out extensions like these to struggling borrowers.
I wanted to walk away.
Claire Groves
Like
was
I said,
one of the
it's almost
representatives on the
people.
other end of the line during calls with people like Jessica Patterson beginning in 2019. She says even though they explained interest charges would continue to add up with an extension, they did not spell out the actual cost.
There was a spiel we had to give every time we gave an extension. You understand that this is what it would do.
Was that
All right. So, hey, she sounded like she was employee there, didn't like what she was doing. This looks like it lays out how the extensions work. Each of these dollar signs is probably a month of payment. And then they allow customers to skip a month and then move those payments that were here, that were skipped, to the end of the loan. The problem with that is the interest continues to accrue and people are probably paying more. Yeah, people are, yeah, see, it's a modification to avoid these guys from coming in default. So they allow them to miss payments. When they get an extension, it looks like the employees get bonuses. I can tell all this just from going through it. Then they have some disclaimer, which is probably terrible. And now that looks like they're telling because that's an eagle. And an eagle is a universal symbol for justice. The CFPB, let's pick up here.
the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFPB, the agency would not say whether Exeter's extension practices align with its guidance.
What I can say is the CFPB doesn't give like a seal of approval, right? So that's not something that the CFPB generally does.
Chris Kukla is Senior Program Manager for Auto Finance at the CFPB. He's her loan, Jessica Patterson received 5 extensions, but still owed more than $12,000. Her fiance at the time figured out she had already paid Exeter more than the sticker price of the car and still wasn't close to being done. You would have given Exeter a lot of money at this point. More money than maybe the car had even been worth.
And that's exactly what we figured too.
So she decided to let the company repossess her Kia without a fight. She reported her experiences with Exeter to the Kansas Attorney General, saying they are a predatory company. This company not only destroyed my credit, but gave me a loan I couldn't afford.
Did the company destroy her credit or did she destroy her credit? Y'all let me know. Like, did the company give her a loan that she couldn't afford or did she agree to a loan that she couldn't afford? Hey, I'm just saying, hey, trust me, I've been in that position before, struggling to robbing Peter to pay Paul is the age-old saying that I've always heard. So I've been in that position before, but a lot of this is just personal accountability.
Patterson's fiance is now her husband, and she has a new career as a real estate agent.
1, 2, 3.
Together, she told us they're working every day to dig themselves out of debt, but can now afford 2 vehicles with the help of a different lender. The Kansas Attorney General declined to take action against Exeter after Patterson was in touch with them, but there were about 200 other complaints similar to hers made to.
I agree with that completely. If I was the AG, I probably wouldn't take any action because you have to show me some type of deception. There are usury laws where you can't make someone pay an interest rate that's just kind of asinine, that's ridiculous. However, I mean, I don't see where the deception was here. Loan modifications are something that are common. If you have a mortgage, they have government modifications that came out. during the housing crisis that allow people to stay in their homes. They have proprietary modifications that your loan servicer can do to help you stay in your home. But there are some consequences to that. Now, let's take a look at one more video and we're going to see how this plays out. Where this young lady owes $40,000 on a 2021 Nissan Sentra that has 60,000 miles on it. Okay, before we dive in, I always like to shout out the content creator, Yusuf Benalal, I believe is how his name is pronounced. You can actually see, let me make that big. You can actually see his screen name right there in the bottom right-hand corner. So if you're interested in this content, go over, support his channel, tell him DFD sent you over there. Let's dive into this video and see what's going on.
On a 2021 Nissan Sentra. All right, guys, calling a customer on a 2021 Nissan Sentra. She contacted me on social media. She owes almost $40,000 on a 2021 Nissan Sentra with almost 60,000 miles. This has probably got to be the worst one yet. So let's give her a call and see how I can help.
That's crazy. That car probably worth like
Hey, how are you? This is
$15,000.
Yes.
So I'm calling about that 2021 Nissan Sentra that you sent me the information on Instagram that you said you're trying to get out of it. You don't have a lot of money down. And I just want to kind of help me understand, how was this car 40,000? Did you roll over negative equity? Did you sell it for 40? Kind of help me understand that.
Yeah, so I had went to this, it was like an open auction type of thing or something like that. I don't know what it is. It was just people they're from Florida, and they came down to Tampa with used cars, but that are basically relatively new, like newer, like year. And they just decided to, check my credit or whatever. And they decided to see if I got approved for it through my credit. And I guess they took out a loan, or I have no idea what happened. And they just took out a loan from Capital Auto Finance for.
She don't know what she did. Hey, it's not funny. It's actually sad, but she has no clue how she got into this situation, paying that much for a car that's probably worth like $13,000
for $40,000. And now when I got the app and everything, and it showed up on my payments and stuff like that, it said that I'm projected to pay off the full $40,000 when the car, it says I have to pay $22,000 on the actual car. So I guess they added all that extra stuff. So I'm projected.
I don't know what the hell she's talking about. And that's a bad sign, because if I can't even follow your conversation, that means when you went there, you just signed some shit and had no clue what was going on, because you can't even explain it to make it make sense.
I expected to pay it off on 2029, and now I'm stuck paying a car note that's 18%.
How much?
18% credit got to be terrible.
How much is your car note for the Nissan Sentra?
It's $560.
Okay, and your insurance is how much?
Currently, don't have insurance on it right now.
Okay.
And she riding around dirty.
It's just sitting. It's sitting there.
And
yeah, I'm not using the car.
Got you. And your credit is not. I mean, is it good? Is it bad? Is it decent?
It was at 700, but it did go down to, I think, about 7. I'm at 680, around there.
Okay, 680. All right. And do you have consistent income? How much do you make a month?
3,000.
3,000. Okay. 3,000 a month, 680. So you have decent credit. You have good income. So, but you didn't trade in a car for this car when you bought it. How long ago did you buy it?
No, I did actually. I had a 2003 Mazda, and I gave it to them, and they took off an extra 3,000 for the Mazda.
Damn. So she got screwed. Let's see.
Maybe 16, 17. I'm just trying to figure out. Hell, last November or last year should have been right around like maybe 16, 17. I'm just trying to figure out how we got to. You said $40,000 was the purchase price.
They gave me the loan for 40,000, but the car is worth. I went to my bank to try to refinance the car, and they said that the numbers are still a little too high.
She don't know what
said that car is worth about 18,000.
So you're looking at almost like.
I really don't know. I just.
Issues you may have, so you can call them and maybe get like.
Unfortunately, I do not.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? With no money down, with a 680 credit score, I will tell you, Capital One is one of the better banks where they try to work out financial distress or any sort of financial issues you may have. So you can call them and maybe get like 2 months, maybe 4 months, maybe 6 months of deferred payments or payments cut in half until you get back on your feet. There is no way of you getting out this car without putting money down, unless you just tell them to come pick it up, because every car you're going to buy, they're going to need at least $10, maybe $15,000 to roll you over into something that they don't have to carry like, $20,000, $25,000 of negative equity. So I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the craziest deal I've seen, where a car that's worth
Facts.
16, 17,000 was able to be sold and financed for 40,000. Your credit gets better, or you.
And this is considered my first, stuck. And I'm like, I don't know.
I will say this. Maybe this is a lesson that, we're more careful next time on the next deal we choose. But I will tell you, repos typically last. When it comes to buying a car, after 2 or 3 years, most banks will look past it, but it'll be on your credit for 5 years. And you made a decision in the beginning, and then it'll get better. So don't feel like you're stuck, right? Just you got to make a decision. You made a decision in the beginning. Now it's unfortunately the consequences, like giving it. It'll take some time, but you'll come out on top. Let's just recap this video. Please, please, please understand any contractual agreement you are entering.
Both of those videos were self-inflicted wounds. One was probably a little bit more, felt more of a necessity because it was a single mom with children. But in both of those videos, I don't think either person lacked the information of what they were getting into. I think they just avoided it and ignored it. And we got to stop. Cars are one of those tricky things because there's a difference in what we need to get by versus what we want. Y'all who've been looking at this channel for a while, y'all know I want a Tesla. I went and test drove one. I sold my Mercedes, stashed some money away. I want to get a Tesla. I still haven't purchased it yet. But you know what I am doing? Well, I am getting my driveway done in my backyard extended so I could park all of my vehicles in there. I finally stashed away some money. I'm going to get that taken care of next month. And slowly but surely, I'm going to get there to where I got my yard how I want it. I can get my vehicles. And honestly, I was going to do a video on interest rates, but I declined. But with interest rates coming down, I'm probably not going to look to actually purchase my vehicle until 2026. Interest rates will probably come down 3 more times before we get, maybe 4, but at least 3 more times before we get into 2026. That'll allow me to stash away more money and have maybe somewhere between 50 to 65% to actually put down on the vehicle that I want. So that's kind of my game plan. So don't get caught up in the car culture. When you're looking at vehicles, get something that you can use, get something that works for you and works for your budget. The last thing you want to do is have a nice ass car and can't afford to drive it or can't afford to live life and do anything else. That's it for this video. If you're checking out this and enjoy it, check out what's on the screen. There's going to be more content related to attorney reactions and finance. Peace.